Okay, we're up to number 5 now in our stages of commercialisation. This is for small projects, by the way. It's not for major corporation projects, and it's also not for consumer products. We've got another program for that. This is all about commercial products and industrial products. Now, this stage is scaling. What you have to do, you've heard the old adage, what got you to here won't get you to there. You've got to have a completely different skill set, and you've got to acknowledge that you've got to have that different skill set, a whole lot of different things. So now you're going to take your project from, let's say, $1 to $5 million a year to the same a month. And to do that, it takes a completely different skill set, a completely different thinking. You've got to invert everything, because otherwise what you're going to try and do is, okay, we're making a little bit of money. What if we get on that hamster wheel and pedal harder? Twice as fast, twice as much money. And it can work, but it'll kill you. And you can't scale. You can't then become multinational, not within 20 years. So you have to open stores and more stores and more stores, and you're still scaling by doing that, but you're funding it yourself, and it becomes difficult. So what we try and do is we get you to a point where you're ready to scale, and we can prove through cash flow projections that where you are now and where you could be in 12 months' time, 5 years' time, is all about money, contacts, expertise. And that's what venture capital and private equity funds and some larger investors will do. Sometimes even the cornerstone investor will go off and get. I had one project in an automotive that we got the cornerstone investor, and he said, I've got exactly the right person who will take this project and scale it. And we actually ended up negotiating for that person, the scaling partners, to actually buy the project out. At that point, they were a multinational company, so they just took it, and we did script for script rollover, which basically gave the cornerstone investor and the inventors shares in the big company, which is a multinational. So they got shares, and they were quite happy. The shares are like cash, so you can cash out at any time. And once they made an announcement to the market, hey, we've just acquired this and it's doing this, the shares went up. So their value, let's say they got $100 for their idea, they actually turned that into $120 as the market bounced up, because, hey, something new, more cash flow. So what we have to do is, in scaling, is a little bit like when we transitioned. We have to acknowledge that even our transition partners are probably not the people to scale a business. If they are, then well and good, but you still have to raise money. This is serious money. This is where Americans call startups. If you think you're a startup way back in the ideation stage, this is nowhere near it. Startups in America do $1 million a month. That's a startup, and they want to see if you can do 20 million a month. That's a good program for them. So how do they do it? They evaluate what you've got, and if you're not turning over and making money, then you're not a startup. You're just an embryo. So we need to get you to that point, and we do that at this scaling. After transition, we're ready to go to scale. We've proven the product, we've done the trial markets, we've tested it, we've opened a store if it was a retail, and we ran it, we made a profit. We can show people that we can now scale this through franchising or whatever we're going to do. If it's an engineering product, we can now know we can make these in batches of 1,000 instead of 100, and that's going to give us economies of scale, and we now know that we've got the market for it. And these guys that we're going to, usually a venture capital, private equity funds, or it might even be an IPO, but the things you need is not just money. Don't ever just fall for, lots of money, because the people who raise that money will want to come onto your board, and they'll actually, their expertise is raising capital. So I'll spend all your money and then go raise more. And that's diluting you. So you don't want that. So what you want is somebody who could partner up. And we usually use private equity firms or venture capital if your project's worthy of this. It might not be, in which case we just find a trade sale and we exit. But if it's worthy of scaling, then we'll go and get one of these partners, and they'll cost you an arm and a leg, but they'll make you 4 more legs. Don't worry about their cost. They bring more than money. They bring their Rolodex, their golden Rolodex. They might have everybody around the world they can do business. For instance, some of these big 4 accounting firms can pick up the phone and talk to somebody in another continent who absolutely needs this product, and they will say from their authority, you need to look at this, and that happens. It just automatically happens. It's surprising, and they do very little work for what they get, but they do get it. And from their point of view, they think they earn it. So the contacts is one thing, money's another, but expertise is the big thing. So they can bring infrastructure to you. They can say, okay, we're going to put a financial controller in there 1 day a week, but he's an expert at growth businesses. And that's exactly what you need. You can't afford him for 5 days a week because it'd be $500,000 a year. But 1 day a week, you can afford that. Now you're scaling. And then he becomes 2 days a week, and then you get somebody else in there to do 5 days a week a little bit cheaper once he's put systems in place. And it's the same with sales and marketing and administration. And they might have all the legal templates to drop the legals in there. So all the contracts you do with suppliers and customers long term, if it is a long term sales agreement or contract, that it's all locked in and nicely done. They do all of that for you. Now, they really do earn their money by taking all the shortcuts that they know work that you otherwise couldn't implement because you don't have the shortcuts. So by the end of this, they'll have earned their money by doing more than what you could have done. And you might have diluted yourself by another 50%, but it doesn't matter because the project will be more than 4 times the size anyway. And that's how it works. So then you're scaling. You're generally on the technical advisory panel. You're not necessarily on the board. You could be as a technical director, but you're in the back seat. You're in the back room doing work, or you might have let the project go once you transitioned it, and then, or you already sent it to scale. You've wiped your hands of it and said, okay, I'll just take shares, or I'll just sit back and be available as a member or chair of the technical advisory panel, which we generally do as a voluntary thing, and they get options as the project progresses if they attend all the meetings and contribute. Okay, so scale, big thing, but hard to explain, but it takes a partner to do it because there's so much that you need that you can't do yourself. And if you try and do it all yourself, all you're going to do is retard the progress of the project. And time is of the essence, because by the time you hit cash flow, you've got to convert that patent. And you've got to be able to have the company pay for that, not you as the inventor, because if you do it too early, way back when you started this project, you're going to have to reach in your own pocket to pay for that patent when it comes due. Otherwise, you'll lose it. And that is why most inventors don't get going, because they've gone out, got an idea, gone to a patent attorney, and the patent attorney says, best thing I've seen for the last week, year, all my life, you need a patent and you need to have it now, and I can help you. And very helpful of them. They take all your money and you've pretty much got a solid patent on something you don't even know if it has any value. So just be aware of timing of all of that. Okay, so that's number 5. Then we're up to number 6. I'll be back to you shortly with that.